Check this.
Welcome, my name is Bloodbath, and today we're going to be making a kitchen in Valheim. And if you're interested in additional Valheim builds, decorations, or tips, feel free to check out my Valheim Build series. Now that we're done with the quick little tour there, we're going to start off with using some stone, make our initial countertops, and then we're going to follow that up with some wooden half walls to cap them off. After that, we're just going to mark off where we're going to put our stove. We're just going to put in some beams to mark it initially, and then we're going to get to work on some of the positions of the cabinets for our various items. Mostly I end up using mugs and plates and jars, things of that nature, as well as getting into some lighting above. Now the way I do this is initially I put the beam against and into the wall, and then I go one out to get just a little bit away from the wall, but not completely over the countertop itself. Do note with many of these tips and tricks, you are going to hit the shift key. There's not as much snapping as there normally is in some of the standard building in Valheim. You just kind of have to get that initial feel and then start putting everything together. Once the cabinets themselves are done, we're going to start putting in a hood over our stove. Now, initially I put one dead center, just following some of the snap points, and after that, again, hitting that shift button, trying to get things kind of even and level as best you can. This can be a little bit of a challenge, but once you've got the hang of it, it's not too bad. We're going to want to take this all the way across that opening and not leave any gaps. After that, we're just going to throw some wooden floors on top, kind of differentiate a little bit from the rest of the countertops. And then we're going to put in some item stands to act as our burners once we put, believe it or not, some bronze shields on top. Now here we're going to use some signs. We're going to start creating a visual illusion. We're going to put two up top along the fans there. This is going to look like a little knob to control the stove fan itself. So I end up just putting a bunch of periods along the top and then a 0 at the very right hand side. And I'm going to do something similar with the stove front here. I'm going to use two signs facing forward and then two backwards, give it a uniform look. And I'm just going to put a bunch of 0s here. Again, look like knobs, but we're going to put some spaces in between to break them. After that, we're going to do something similar for the rest of our drawers and openings along the front of the countertops here. Same idea, we're going to use those blank ones on the bottom and the front facing ones along the top, but instead of using 0s as knobs, we're going to end up just using a simple dash. Now, in order to get these positioned correctly, you're going to want to put some spaces and then hit the dash itself depending on where you want the handle to appear on the sign. After that, we're going to move on to putting some item stands down on the counters where we can place various items. I end up using a lot of various food here, a couple drinks and whatnot. Like I said, along the top of the stove, we'll end up using those bronze bucklers or shields. And then you're going to want to use those item stands up along the drawer area. Now, it will take a little bit of doing to get it on just that little beam. Here, I end up using a fair amount of mugs. And once again, I end up using those bronze bucklers, but I stack them so that they kind of look like plates. Now with our shelving done, all of our item stands in place, we're going to put in a sink in our kitchen next. So first I'm going to start off with a single block, create a little opening, and then I'm going to use, once again, those signs and make a squared off area using the blank sides of them. We'll end up using a small wooden floor at the bottom, just again using that shift key to get it into place. And then after that, we're actually going to use some item stands to create a faucet. Now with making the faucet with the item stands, it can be a little tricky, it can be a little hard to see. So what you're going to want to do is hover over the item stand you've placed on the bottom, and then slowly but surely you'll notice when it finally jets out forward and away. So you're going to move it back just ever so slightly and create kind of an arch using placement of these in this method. And at the end, you'll notice it just happens to look like a faucet. After that, any good kitchen's going to have a refrigerator in order to keep all of those random food items cold. We can't have anything going to waste. So I'm just going to space out away from the counter, make sure we've got plenty of room, and then start putting in the fridge. Most of this is built using just simple wooden beams. And then I put a door on the front along with some of the small wooden flooring to give it shelves. And once again, after that's all said and done, we're going to put those item stands in and start filling up the fridge. Now I do end up putting a wall item stand towards the bottom as well as a regular item stand towards the top. and I end up using crypt keys as a light for it inside the fridge. So when it's open, you can see what's going on. Here I'm just going to throw a couple item stands up top, throw some random potions just to give it a little bit more of a decorative feel, not just so plain along the edge. Next up, we're going to make a wine rack. So we're going to take these stools here, point them, and then we're going to get them nice and close together so that they form kind of that diamond shape. And then after that, we're going to put on a single small wooden floor and just kind of repeat this over and over again. You can always leave a gap to show an open shelving area, and then we're just going to use wooden signs along the sides to close everything off. Do make sure to throw some item stands on here, put some of your potions, various needs, just to give that feel that, you know, should be filled up with various bottles. And there you have it, the modern kitchen in Valheim. We've got our alcohol, we've got our fridge stocked with food, we've got everything laid out to cook, mugs, plates, stove burners at the ready. We even have a cutting board along the top with some meat and knives. Once again, if you did enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what should I check out next, and as always, have a wonderful day.